Hello, love. Welcome to a fresh new episode of The Bright Path.
Welcome in, it's a brand new day. Let's light the way. Dream it big, don't hold back, let your colors shine. Every step you take, you're rewriting your own line. Turn the page, make a change, let your heart believe. The life you want is closer than you think. Just breathe on the bright path. We're dancing in the sun, manifesting dreams. Yeah, we're getting things done.
I'm your host, Kimberly. Today, we are talking about mind hacking, the rise of subliminal audios in the age of self-optimization, and how audio affirmations became the internet's new self-upgrade obsession. Can you really reprogram your mind through sound? Let's dive in. What if some of the most powerful changes in your life begin long before you consciously decide to make them? Not in the loud, deliberate moments. Not in the goal-setting, vision-boarding, color-coded planner kind of way. I'm talking about the quieter terrain, the vast backstage of the mind where habits are formed, beliefs are stored, and your perceptions are filtered before you're even aware they're happening. The subconscious mind is less like a filing cabinet and more like the operating system running beneath everything, invisible, constant, and wildly influential. Neuroscientists estimate that a tremendous amount of our daily behavior is driven by automatic processes rather than conscious decision-making. Your brain is an efficiency machine. If it had to deliberate over every thought, movement, and emotional response, you would never make it out the front door. So, it creates shortcuts, neural pathways that become stronger with repetition. This is the essence of Hebbian learning. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Repeated thoughts, emotional reactions, and behaviors become the brain's preferred routes, like well-worn trails through a forest. That's why change can feel so difficult at first. You're not just choosing a new thought, you're asking your brain to build a new road while the old highway is still heavily trafficked. This is also where subliminals become so fascinating. At their core, subliminals are designed to work with the brain's natural mechanisms of learning and adaptation. They repeatedly present carefully crafted suggestions, often at levels that don't fully capture conscious attention. And while the conscious mind may not actively analyze every word, the brain is still remarkably adept at detecting patterns, emotional cues, and repeated stimuli. Research has shown that subliminal stimuli can influence attention, perception, and even behavior under certain conditions. Studies in cognitive psychology have demonstrated that information presented below conscious awareness can prime subsequent responses, shape preferences, and subtly bias decision-making. Not control, not coercion, but influence. A gentle nudge rather than a hostile takeover. Your brain, thankfully, is not that easy to hijack. The Reticular Activating System, or RAS, also plays a starring role here. Think of it as your brain's personal nightclub bouncer. Every second, your senses are bombarded with millions of bits of information, and the RAS decides what gets through the velvet rope of conscious awareness. Once you begin focusing on something, whether it's a new car, a career opportunity, or evidence of your own worth, the RAS starts highlighting related information in your environment. Suddenly, what once seemed invisible appears everywhere. It's not that the world changed overnight, your filter did. Subliminals can help direct that filter. By repeatedly reinforcing a desired belief or outcome, they may increase the likelihood that you notice opportunities, interpret situations differently, and respond in ways that align with your goals. In other words, they can help recalibrate the lens through which you experience reality. As a subliminal creator myself, this is the intersection that fascinates me the most, where neuroscience meets intention and where psychology meets possibility. Every subliminal that I personally create begins with a precise objective: I'm not interested in vague, fluffy affirmations floating around like motivational confetti, all right? I want specificity. I want language that speaks directly to the subconscious in ways that feel natural, compelling, and emotionally resonant. That's why I use multiple affirmation styles. Direct I am statements can reinforce identity. Question-based affirmations, often called affirmations, or as more popular in the manifesting culture, we sometimes call these askermations, but they prompt the brain to search for supporting evidence. I also use conversational or gossip-style affirmations, which leverage our innate social attentiveness. The human brain is exquisitely tuned to social information. It perks up when something feels like insider knowledge. We are, neurologically speaking, excellent eavesdroppers. Then comes the auditory architecture. I layer these affirmations beneath immersive soundscapes designed to promote relaxation and receptivity. Many creators, myself included, often use frequencies associated with theta brainwave states, which are commonly linked to deep relaxation, meditation, and the liminal space between wakefulness and sleep. Theta is particularly interesting because it's associated with increased suggestibility, memory consolidation, and creative insight. It's the mental equivalent of leaving the front door unlocked for new ideas. And the results people report can be extraordinary, you guys, though not in a supernatural way. More often, they describe a gradual but meaningful shift, greater confidence, improved emotional resilience, increased motivation, a stronger sense of self-worth. They begin making different choices, noticing new opportunities, and responding to challenges from a more empowered state. I've experienced this in my own life as well. Subliminals have supported profound changes in my self-concept, my habits, and my sense of possibility. They've helped me move from simply wishing for change to actually embodying it. Not because an audio track waved a magic wand, but because it consistently reinforced the version of myself I was intentionally becoming. That distinction is everything. Subliminals are not about bypassing effort or escaping reality. They're not shortcuts around growth. They're tools, and very powerful ones, for directing attention, reinforcing beliefs, and supporting behavioral change. They work best when paired with conscious action, emotional engagement, and a willingness to participate in your own evolution. Of course, with that power comes responsibility. Not all subliminals are created ethically. Poorly designed affirmations, fear-based messaging, or manipulative intent can be psychologically harmful, especially for vulnerable listeners. That's why integrity matters so much in this space. The goal should always be empowerment, autonomy, and well-being, never exploitation. At their best, subliminals are not about becoming someone entirely new. They're about uncovering and reinforcing the qualities, beliefs, and capabilities that may already exist within you, waiting for a little more repetition, a little more attention, and a little more belief. Transformation rarely happens in one dramatic moment. More often, it happens quietly, neuron by neuron, thought by thought, choice by choice. And that is both the science and the beauty of it. One of the most fascinating and certainly most controversial corners of subliminal culture is the world of appearance-focused subliminals. This is where the conversation tends to get especially heated. For some, it sounds completely implausible. For others, it feels deeply intuitive. And for millions of listeners online, it's one of the biggest reasons they're drawn to subliminal audio in the first place. Search for subliminals on YouTube or many other platforms, and you'll quickly find entire communities centered around physical transformation, or, as the kids are calling it nowadays, looks-maxing. Straighter teeth, clearer skin, thicker hair, bigger eyes, even more niche goals from facial symmetry to healthier nails, people searching for their dream face, and then trying to reprogram their subconscious mind to create facial features that align with their dream face or their dream body. It's like a digital beauty aisle, except instead of serums and retinol, the product is repetition, expectation, and sound. Why is this category so popular? Because appearance is deeply tied to identity, confidence, and social perception. Humans are highly visual creatures. The way we see ourselves and believe others see us can profoundly shape our behavior. When someone feels more attractive, they often carry themselves differently. They smile more, they make more eye contact, they speak with greater confidence. That shift alone can create a very real change in how they're perceived and how they move through the world. This is where psychology enters the chat, carrying a clipboard and several fascinating studies. Research has consistently shown that expectation can influence perception. If you believe you're becoming more attractive, you might invest more in self-care, style, posture, or grooming. You may carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who expects to be noticed. That confidence can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. In psychology, this is closely related to the expectancy effects and self-perception theory. The beliefs you hold about yourself can influence the behaviors that ultimately reinforce those beliefs. That said, it's important to separate psychological effects from biological claims. Subliminals are best understood as tools that may influence mindset, habits, and self-perception. They're not substitutes for orthodontics, dermatology, or medical treatment. A subliminal for hair growth may encourage someone to reduce stress, improve self-care routines, or become more consistent with scalp care. A subliminal for straighter, whiter teeth may increase awareness of oral habits or even motivate someone to pursue professional treatment and even find less expensive options. The audio itself is not physically moving enamel around like a tiny invisible orthodontist, if only, right? But still, the subjective results people report can be significant. Many listeners say they feel more attractive, more confident, and more aligned with their desired self-image. They often notice very subtle shifts at first, like improved posture, a brighter expression, better grooming habits, a stronger sense of embodiment, or even a consistent self-care routine that is non-negotiable. These changes can create a ripple effect that feels transformative. Ever since I found this amazing subliminal culture and became fully immersed in it, one of the most popular ones I've started noticing is people wanting a beautifully sculpted jaw. Prior to finding this community, I had no idea people were so obsessed with their jaws and like having a perfect jawline. Like it just did not click for me. And then I started wanting this perfect side profile as well. So in making subliminals and listening to other subliminals, I included this in my playlist. I've noticed transformation in my facial structure. Can I attribute it to just soaking in information? No. But I've noticed I have more of a desire to do face exercises, which is part of my self-care routine that I do every single day, because it's important to me to have the face that I want and to have a more youthful, refined looking face and body. And so I work out more. Whereas prior to subliminals, I did not care. I was not motivated to work out. Now it's more of a priority for me, including facial exercises, body exercises, using a red light therapy mask, ensuring that I have a goddess bath every evening. I like to detoxify my body. I actually like to eat healthy. I no longer crave junk food. I do not want junk in my body. This is how powerful subliminals can be. The benefits of subliminals are astronomical. They're really limitless. And if I could show you guys my playlist when I first started, I was like a kid in a candy store. I was adding over 700 different subliminals to my playlist because I just wanted everything. Now I realized it's more beneficial to narrow it down and just stick with a few really high quality, effective subliminals that align with your strongest desires. And then once you start achieving those goals, you can adjust your playlist. At least for me, that's what I find works most efficiently. Then there are boosters, the espresso shot of the subliminal world. A booster is a subliminal that's designed to enhance the effectiveness of other subliminals. So think of it as a primer before painting a wall. Its purpose is typically to increase receptivity, reduce resistance, improve focus, and reinforce the listener's belief that the subliminal will work. Some boosters include affirmations aimed at accelerating results, enhancing subconscious absorption, or clearing limiting beliefs. And personally, I add boosters to each of my subliminals. In addition, since I have a very stubborn mind with years upon years, if not decades of negative programming, I also listen to additional boosters that dissolve subconscious blocks and clear limiting beliefs. From a psychological standpoint, boosters can be especially powerful because they amplify expectancy and commitment. They prime the mind to be more receptive. And expectancy, as decades of placebo research have shown, is no small thing. When people believe a tool will be effective, they often engage with it more consistently, more attentively, and with greater emotional investment. That belief can meaningfully influence the outcomes. In many ways, boosters function like a mental warm-up before exercise. Are they strictly necessary? No, not always. But for some users, they create a ritual, a sense of readiness, and an increased level of focus. And the brain loves ritual. Ritual signals significance. It tells the mind, pay attention, something important is happening here. Ultimately, appearance subliminals and boosters reveal something profound about human nature. Beneath the desire for straighter teeth or thicker hair is often a deeper longing to feel confident, attractive, and fully home in one's own skin. That longing is universal, and perhaps that's why this corner of subliminal culture continues to thrive. It isn't just about changing how we look, it's about changing how we see ourselves and how we allow ourselves to be seen. Thank you so much for listening, as always, and I will see you next week on the Bright Path.